This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by promoter Frank Warren here in London. Frank, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Obviously a few things to get through, but let's just start off with maybe the backwards way to go about it. But your new signing who's just been here, Royston Barney Smith, talk to me about him.
Yeah, I'm very, very pleased. He's an exceptional young amateur talent, and he's decided to turn pro when he's 18, which is in a few months' time. So he'll make his debut in January.
Talk to me about him, obviously turning over now when he's still 17. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he's not turning over.
Well, not turning over, but planning to.
When he's 18, I've got no problem. You know, Naz did it, Ricky Hatton did it. Many fighters have done it.
And now let's obviously move forwards onto the reason we're here at the landmark.
Dubois did it.
The reason we're here today, Frank, as you mentioned, Daniel Dubois. He and Tommy Fury are both going to be stateside fighting on the Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley undercard. Just first and foremost, Frank, where did this opportunity and deal come about?
Well, it started off really because of the banter that's going on between Jake Paul and Tommy, and his manager and ourselves started talking, and we got to a stage where he was going to fight on that same show, and we agreed a deal, and they did a deal then with Showtime, and Showtime had wanted to showcase Daniel in the States and asked me to take him out there on a few occasions, and so we did a deal to get the both of them on the same show to get the exposure out there.
Let's start off with Daniel before we do come on to Tommy. He faces Joe Cusumano. Talking about that fight, Frank, firstly, what do you know about Cusumano?
Well, he's never been stopped. And of the 19 wins that he's had, he's stopped 17 of them, so he can bang himself. He comes to fight. So him and Daniel should be quite entertaining while it lasts.
What are you hoping to see from Daniel now with the improvements he's made under Shane to build momentum on the back of a Dinu win? What are you hoping Daniel shows in the ring?
I want him to go out there and do the business and look good. I want to make a statement. I want to see him go out there, use his boxing skills. I don't want to see him taking any shots, and I want to see him take Cusumano out.
Now we know how big the kind of the exposure that the likes of the Jake Pauls and that side of the world generate. For Daniel, how key can that be for his own development to be in and amongst people who will be very kind of vociferous throughout the week?
I don't think I'm not really bothered about the fact of Jake Paul. I mean, when you look at the comparisons between him and Daniel, I mean, he's boxing-wise, he's novice compared with Daniel, that's for sure. It's the Showtime element of it that I'm really interested in. The fact there'll be a lot of eyeballs on it. That's really what it is.
Now on to Tommy Fury, Frank. Obviously, he faces Anthony Taylor, who's a sparring partner to Jake Paul. Once again, just kind of your thoughts behind that fight.
Look, as I say, it's an opportunity for Tommy. We've done a 2-fight deal, and as far as Tommy's concerned, it's something that's that he, I can't step in his way, nor do I even dream of stepping his way with a fight against him and Jake Paul. If that fight comes on, it's got life-changing money for him. So why would I even contemplate stopping him, or think about in any way stopping him from having that fight?
Someone was going to ask you about. Tommy said to me he believes it's a 2-fight deal. He's hopeful it leads to Jake Paul. Are you confident Jake Paul will be the second of that 2-fight deal?
I'm not saying I've not said that's the second fight. We got a 2-fight deal. If we can make the fight, then we will. But that's all going to be about how Tommy's received out in the States and what he does out there, and whether Jake Paul then wants to take him on.
Obviously, he's facing somebody who is more well known for his MMA exploits. Tommy, that is. So with his opponent Anthony Taylor, the criticism seems to be just kind of the weight. Obviously, Taylor more used to boxing around with 145 to 155 pounds in MMA. So just kind of your thoughts on that and the difference it will make on fight night.
My thoughts on it, it's a good fight for Tommy. Why would I complain about it? I'm not the promoter of the show. That's the opponents that we talked about, and that's where we are. I'm delighted for Tommy. I just want Tommy to go out there and do the business.
What type of statement does Tommy need to send out with a win against Anthony Taylor?
He needs to knock him over. He needs to knock him over and do it in style.
Just moving forward once again, I just want to get your thoughts on a few other things, Frank, just away from this. I know we've got Wilder Fury 3 on October 9th, and you was looking to put on a show on October 9th with the Yard Arthur rematch and then Joe Joyce on the undercard. Matchroom announced Smith Fowler on that same night. Just your thoughts on that?
We announced our show last week.
What are your thoughts on kind of the clash? I know you said you've announced it last.
What about it, is it? It happens sometimes, and we moved. Tyson's date was moved to the 9th. It's no secret we're going to do a show in the UK the same night. And that's all I care about. I'm not really worried about Anthony Fowler fighting Liam. That's their business. Who cares? I don't care about it. We've got a big night of boxing on BT.
Just more so from the point of it's obviously happened in the past. I think the most high-profile events were.
What can I do about it? There's nothing I can do about it. We're running a show. What I've got to do is just kill the British end of the pay-per-view because of that. I'm not doing that. And we announced our show. Go and ask them why they're going. Not my problem.
Just with Joe Joyce Frank, a word on him. Just to reflect on his performance against Carlos Takam because we never had a chance to speak after that.
I thought he'd done well. I mean, he took a few shots, but I think he was in the. I spoke to him afterwards. He said he just felt that he wanted to, just basically take his shots to land his, and he did what he had to do. And in the 6th round, he went out, went up a gear, and just took him out through nearly 25 unanswered punches, and the referee had no choice but to stop the fight. He weren't in a good place at the time when Joe was catching him easily.
What type of statement do you think Joe has sent out to the rest of the division? As we know now, he's that WBO number 1.
Well, I think the crowd, you were there, the fans loved him. He got a great cheer, and they stayed. Normally fans go after the fight. A lot of people stayed, trying to get photos and talking to him. So I was pleased as far as the fans was concerned that he's now connected big time with them. And as far as putting a statement out there, he's the number 1. Anybody who's got anything about him who wants to fight a guy who's the mandatory challenger, anyone, you'd think they would do it because look at the opportunity you're getting. So he holds something that's quite valuable.
Something I was going to ask you about, Frank. Who do you want to see Joe face next? Have you got anything in the pipeline?
Well, I'd like to see the fight the winner of AJ and Usyk. But having said that, if AJ wins and Tyson wins, that's the fight that we're going to get on.
Have you all had that conversation yet?
With who?
Just kind of with Joe surrounding his mandatory, and if AJ was to come through him,
he knows what the position is, and it is what it is. And but he's okay. We've delivered for him, and I've got him in the number 1 spot. He's done it in the ring, but I've managed to work hard to manoeuvre him and get him into that 1 spot. So can't do no more than that.
And just finally, Frank, just from when we last spoke, how is Tyson doing out in America now? Obviously recovered from COVID back in camp.
He's recovering. He's training. Tommy was telling me this morning he's training hard, and he's obviously wants to get that fight on the 9th. Be out the ring for nearly 20 months by the time it happens. So he's got to be focused, get that out of the way, and hopefully Joshua comes through, and we can sit down between us and try and get it over the line.
Frank, we'll leave it there now because I know you've got a few people waiting to speak to you. Thank you.
Cheers, Andi.